know I mentioned this a little bit before, but the one thing that I wanted to talk about is around having some kind of money set aside that you can strictly use for and within your business, aside from any personal requirements, bills, expenses, etc., to make sure that you have some kind of a cushion. There's a lot of things online and seminars you can go to, businesses that advertise that say, start with zero money, start, with no experience, zero money, zero this, zero that. It's really important, in my opinion, to make sure that you have money set aside that can be used for the business, it's not your emergency fund, it's not to cover your regular bills, but a dedicated amount that you set aside, and that amount is based on the type of business you have. So I don't want to get into how much you need, but just talk a little bit about the fact that you need some kind of a cushion and what that looks like.
So I guess just to make sure I understand what you're saying don't take money out of your day-to-day requirements to attempt to fund your business.
Well, I'm saying when you're starting a business, because all of this that we're talking about, it really is about kind of the infancy or, setting up a good structure. It's, of course, pulling money, right, from your personal, if you're going to start a business, because you have to start somewhere. Maybe you can just go and get a loan and start, and that's great. But if you can't, you want to build up something, but that bucket that you're building up is dedicated just for your business.
Okay.
Is what I'm, where I'm coming from. But what are your thoughts?
Well, you do hear lots of success stories, and like you said, lots of stuff online about start with zero, and there's been people that you hear about, and certainly a few people we know that for lack of a better term, risk it all and did well. But I would agree that probably for every one of those people that we have either heard about or know, there's thousands of others that did go the risk it all
route,
and it took either years to recover, or they failed completely, or they look back on it and wonder how they survived. So I definitely would not suggest to anybody that they divert money that they need to support themselves and their family and move it into trying to start a business, because you have no idea how much it's going to take. Even the best laid plans and the most detailed spreadsheets, there's always going to be an unexpected expense that comes up, and if you can't fund that expense, then the business may not be able to make it, and if you're pulling that money from somewhere else that you need to support yourself or your family, then you're getting into the danger zone. So yeah, the concept of save up what you need outside of what it takes to live before you jump in. A couple other avenues is the work that you want to do or the business you want to start. Find someone else that's doing it and either work for them to build up the funds to do it, or maybe partner with them to help you, even though you might ultimately be a competitor.
So it's really kind of mitigating some of those risks when you start. So it's not that you have to, and of course people have succeeded literally starting with nothing and becoming incredible, successful people in their own space and field.
But it's not the norm.
but it isn't the norm. And you can help yourself if you take the time to make a plan once you know what business it is that you want to start. Understand some of those numbers, and that may be by working with someone who's already in that business or someone who knows pieces of that might give you an opportunity to work in that space so you can learn and expand your knowledge on what it might take to keep the operations of that business going, and then which is different than what you might need to actually start up a business. So you've got kind of that to consider, and also learn about what are things that can derail the business. What are some of those risks, and what's the cost associated with that? Is it time specific? Is it money? Is it location? Whatever that number of employees and or contractors, what is that? And do you have some kind of a bucket that you can dip into until you can get to a place that you know, okay, this business is sustainable, we have enough income coming in where we can sustain. Now we can look at, the growth side of it and building it up some more. But that in that initial starting phase, in my opinion, it is important that you consider sitting down, making a plan to the best of your ability.
You always need a plan.
And then based on that plan,
but I think
having a bucket.
I think the adage that most everyone has also heard is time is money. If you don't have a lot of money, once you've sat down and made your plan, then you can still work towards opening your business with sufficient time, whether that time is saving up for it or if it's a service-oriented business. You put in the hours, you put in the time, not expecting to be able to do some things that you'd like to do to officially open your business.
Well, and I think that's a little bit different. I think that gets into some of the little bit of sacrifice that you might have to make. So you don't eat out every night. Maybe you limit that to once a week because the rest of those funds you're building to set aside.
Well, that, and one of the examples I was going to give is everyone would like to have billboards every mile all the way down the interstate. Well, that takes a lot of money. But if you don't have the money for a billboard, if your business would survive or flourish with a billboard, then you put on the shoes, you put on the jacket, you go knock doors in the neighborhood and introduce yourself. You take the time to meet people one by one, even though you'd rather have the billboard where you're getting 10,000 views a day with people driving by. So you sacrifice the time rather than the money.
Yeah. And in today's world, maybe not so much a billboard. Maybe it's a online ad, so it constantly pops up in all the different social medias, in email, etc.
Yeah, you do paid advertising on social media.
Yeah.
You don't have the money for the paid advertising, then you sit and you do the manual. You're not going to grow your audience as quickly, but you sacrifice the time to build your business because you don't have the money.
Or you work as a contractor possibly in someone else's business that is in line with what it is that you want to do. Build the experience, build the funding, build that kind of structure that you're going to need and that understanding of what it is that you have to prepare for.
I met a landscaper a number of years ago that was extremely successful. When he first started out, he really wanted the riding mowers, he really wanted the gas-powered weed eaters, he really wanted to start the
latest
business.
And greatest equipment.
He wanted the trailers where he could put his stuff on with ease and not have to pick it up and stick it in the back of his truck. But he was smart enough to realize, I'm not there yet. And so he went through a full season with the push mower that he had, and he saved up his money with the push mower, and he knocked on doors, even though he would have rather ran, in that day, newspaper ads. And but he took his time to to
But
do what
he-
was
He
necessary.
exchanged
He
time
exchanged time
for
the money,
stability,
for the money he didn't have.
to help that stability
So that's-
for his
that's-
business.
that may be a choice you need to make rather than going back to your original point. Don't take the money out of what it takes to survive and keep your family fed and clothed and housed to put into a business. Big risk, big risk.
I was going to say, yeah, you are putting yourself on a personal level, then you put yourself at risk personally instead of, keeping that risk at bay and having, a separate entity, separate budget, dedicated time, other resources that are specific for your business as opposed to dipping into personal.
So make a plan, follow the plan, and always overestimate what it's going to cost to execute the plan because it's going to cost.
Yeah, extra money is always better than not enough money because then you start grabbing from other places that in the moment you may not think is a big deal. But anytime you dip into that personal side, you are putting yourself at large risk of not only the business failing, but then you've got other issues as far as your regular bills and other expenses that you have to consider.
So plan ahead, go out and execute to your success.